Most business owners still think cyber attacks happen to big companies. The numbers say something very different. More than 40% of cyber attacks target small businesses with fewer than 250 employees. The average US data breach now costs around $9 million. And most small business cyber claims involve someone clicking a link, not a hacker breaking through a firewall. Today, we're going to walk through what a cyber liability actually covers, where it falls short, and one type of cyber claim that almost everyone is not fully insured for. Hey everyone, Ben Trigstead here with Trailstone Insurance Group. This is part 7 of our Commercial Insurance 101 series. Today is cyber liability. If your business has employees, handles customer information, uses online banking, or sends invoices and payments by email, this is a video for you. Let's break down what a cyber policy really protects. A modern cyber liability policy responds to data breaches involving a customer, employee, or financial records, ransomware and extortion attacks, business interruptions from a cyber event that shuts down your operations, legal defense and settlements from third parties affected by the breach, regulatory fines and penalties where they are legally insurable, and the cost of notifying affected parties and offering credit monitoring. On top of that, most modern policies include breach response service. That means the moment something happens, you are connected with attorneys, forensic investigators, and a PR specialist who will handle the response. For a small business that has never been through a breach, that breach response team is often your most valuable part of the policy. Here's the part that matters most. The most common cyber loss for a small business today is not a hacker stealing customer data. It is something called social engineering fraud. That is when an employee gets tricked, usually through a fake email that looks like it's coming from you or a vendor, into wiring money or changing payment information. And here's the kicker. Most base cyber policies exclude social engineering fraud or only cover it with a small sublimit. To get full coverage, you usually need an endorsement called social engineering fraud or fraudulent instruction coverage. So the most common loss is the one that most policies do not fully cover, unless you specifically ask for it. This is one of those quiet gaps we look for in every commercial review. Let's be clear about the exclusions because they catch business owners off guard. Cyber liability does not cover intentional fraud by the owner or the executive. That is not insurable. It will not respond if your systems are poorly maintained and basic cyber hygiene was ignored. Claims can be denied. War and state-sponsored cyber attacks are usually excluded unless you add a specific endorsement. Utility and internet outages that are not caused by a direct cyber attack are also going to be excluded. Future profits or stock value loss beyond direct first-party costs are not covered. And anything that happened before the policy started is obviously excluded. That second one matters. Carriers expect you to have basic protections in place, multi-factor authentication, regular backups, antivirus, employee training, and if you do not, your claim may be reduced or denied. So your cyber policy and your cyber hygiene work together, not separately. Marco, who owns a small business accounting firm, asked, "One of my staff wired $48,000 to what looked like a vendor's bank account. It was fake. Will my cyber policy respond to this?" Marco, this is exactly the social engineering fraud scenario we talked about. This happens to small firms every single week. Whether you are covered depends on 3 things. First, do you have a cyber policy at all? Second, does it include a social engineering or fraudulent instruction endorsement? Third, what is the sublimit on that endorsement? Many small business policies have $25,000 or $50,000 sublimit, which sometimes covers the loss and sometimes does not. The fix going forward is to confirm the endorsement is on your policy, raise the sublimit if your business handles higher transactions, and put a verbal verification process in place for payment instructions that arrive via email. So if you take 3 things from this video, take these. Number 1, ask whether your cyber policy includes social engineering fraud and what the sublimit is. If it is not there, add it. Number 2, confirm you have multi-factor authentication, regular backups, and written employee training process. Carriers reward this with lower premiums and stronger coverage. Number 3, Do not assume your IT vendor's insurance is going to protect you. Their policy protects them. You need your own. Cyber is one of the policies where the fine print matters most. Two policies with the same headline price can have wildly different supplements, exclusions, and breach response services. Because we are an independent agency, we shop more than 40 A+ rated carriers. We compare the actual policy language, not just the premium. We confirm your social engineering coverage, your business interruption supplements, and the quality of your breach response team. That is part of our commercial track process, the Trailstone risk assessment and comparison. And we revisit it every renewal. Cyber threats and carrier appetites change faster than almost any other line of insurance. If you would like a complimentary review of your cyber liability policy, including a look at your social engineering coverage and your breach response provisions, we're happy to help. Visit trailstoneinsurance.com or give us a call. Thanks for watching. Next up, we're talking about employment practices liability, also called EPLI, which protects you from one of the fastest growing types of business lawsuits. See you on the next one.